Migrant worker was just squatting down to tie his shoes. A rich girl in a mini skirt happened to walk by. She almost sat down on the worker's head. Seeing the phone's camera facing upward, the rich girl thought the worker was secretly recording her. The worker hurriedly explained it was a misunderstanding. But the rich girl and her colleagues didn't give him a chance to explain. They pinned him to the ground. The rich girl, relying on her position as a company manager, mocked the worker as a lowly farmer. At that moment, the company CEO rushed over. He shouted "Dad" to the worker. The rich girl was stunned. The CEO's father handed over the phone for her to check, to see if there were any photos of her. She hurriedly apologized, saying it was all a misunderstanding, but the CEO wasn't willing to forgive her easily. He fired the rich girl and the other employees on the spot. No matter how they pleaded, the CEO was unyielding and had them removed. The father didn't understand why his son suddenly appeared. He thought it was inauspicious for a groom to be at the hospital. It turned out that it was the CEO's wedding day. He hadn't informed his father. After all, his fiancée's parents were prominent entrepreneurs, while his father was just a migrant worker. He feared his father's presence at the wedding would bring ridicule, so the CEO urged his father to go home and not cause trouble. But the father didn't mind. After his son left, he took out an old photo of his wife, reminiscing about hiding his identity as the wealthiest man. Their intention had been to train their son, but after 20 years, the son was on the verge of becoming estranged. Determined, the father decided to reveal his identity at the wedding. He called his goddaughter, asking her to prepare a grand wedding gift for the occasion. It turned out the man wasn't a migrant worker, but the world's richest man with billions in assets. He had 3 stunning and wealthy goddaughters. Meanwhile, the CEO arrived at the banquet hall, standing before his fiancée's parents and relatives. They all expressed their disdain. They believed marrying such a powerful wife was essentially him marrying up. The CEO tried to defend himself, but he indeed couldn't present any decent wedding gift. At that moment, the mother-in-law reminded him not to bring poor relatives from his hometown, especially his unpresentable father. He smiled bitterly and agreed, but in the next second, his father boldly walked in. The CEO was shocked. Seeing his mother-in-law's displeasure, he rushed to persuade his father to leave the wedding, but the father insisted that attending his son's wedding was his right. He approached to greet the mother-in-law, but she looked down on him, ordering the hotel manager to have the man removed. Worried that his father would be humiliated, the son blocked the manager. He returned to urge his father to leave temporarily, but the father refused. At that moment, the hotel manager approached, instantly recognizing the man as the nation's wealthiest individual. He and the hotel staff promptly welcomed him.